When American B-2 jets landed at their home base in Missouri after bombing Iran, another base sat up and took notice. Donald Trump's base. The diehards of the MAGA movement. You know, Make America Great Again? They voted for Trump in part because he wanted to keep the US out of foreign wars. Yet here he was drawn into Israel's conflict with Iran, ordering pilots based in the US to drop bunker-busting bombs on Iran's nuclear sites. That's 11,000 kilometers away. Back home, not everyone is happy. And the Middle East continues to play a huge part in the successes and failures of politicians who live a world away. I'm Cyril Vanier, you're watching Pinch Point, where geography and politics collide. When I say not everyone is happy, I include the president himself. When Israel started its attacks on Iran on June 13th, Trump wasn't so sure. He had spent both of his winning presidential campaigns arguing against forever wars.
Biden's weakness has led the planet to the edge of nuclear war. I will prevent World War III. I'm the only one that's going to do it.
Fast forward to June 2025, and he had decided on a limited and, he hoped, one-off strike against Iran, before demanding and getting a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. And when it looked like they were going to break it, he was apoplectic, first on social media and then on camera. And I mean a full-on, foul-mouthed rant.
You know what, we basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
But trouble in the Middle East has a way of sucking in US presidents for the long haul. Think Afghanistan or Iraq. Remember this? May 2003, when President George W. Bush landed on the USS Abraham Lincoln to announce major combat operations in Iraq had ended. That banner, mission accomplished, was more than a little optimistic. Combat operations only ended in 2021, with 4,419 American soldiers killed and 2,500 US personnel still stationed there. Remember, too, that they only went in the first place because of incorrect intelligence that suggested Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. It turned out he didn't. MAGA stalwarts like U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene believe public anger over the Iraq War helped win Trump the presidency. She's fed up with what she calls foreign wars and took to social media to condemn Trump's operation in Iran. Then there's Tucker Carlson, the broadcaster, a Trump devotee, but a skeptic of the so-called benefits of U.S. military action in Iran. He interviewed Republican Senator Ted Cruz. You've probably seen this.
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and
What
predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not
okay.
even, you don't know anything about Iran. So
Okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government,
You're the one
and you
who
don't know anything about the country.
Views shared by the MAGA influencer-in-chief and former White House advisor Steve Bannon, who had this to say about Israel's war aims.
We're not being dealt with straight, and I'm just saying that on the information that's put out, the Israeli position on this has changed 3 or 4 times. First, it was the nuclear bomb, the processing of everything. There was going to be something like last weekend. You had to go now. You had to go on Thursday night. It had to happen, right? Then we find out it's a year away at earliest, and then it's a decapitation strike. They're trying to have regime change.
The Trump administration is sticking to the script that bombing the 3 nuclear facilities was important in preventing Iran from building a nuclear weapon. After that, it starts to get a bit, well, vague.
The president has been very clear that we are not interested in protracted conflicts in the Middle East, but there's a question about how do you achieve peace, and we believe the way that you achieve peace is through strength.
But it's not just the US that's been tying itself in knots over Israel's war on Iran. There are reports that Tehran has been complaining that the Russians haven't been as supportive as they might have been. The Kremlin pushed back by saying it had taken a clear position by condemning US and Israeli strikes on the Islamic Republic. Of course, the world powers all share one thing in common: the need for Middle East oil and gas, and a conflict-free route to get it to market as cheaply as possible. War is the worst-case scenario. Everyone can agree on that. But it seems to happen all the same, time and time again.